Good morning, good morning, good morning, or afternoon, wherever you
Wherever
may
you
be.
may be. It could be good night, by the way, if you're watching a recording, especially. Well,
It could be 24, we're in a 24-hour cycle.
it could be in a whole nother time zone, a whole nother year.
But we're going to take you to a whole new universe
In the
today.
year 2525.
That's not what we're doing. That's not our topic today.
Oh, hi, my name is Michelle Moras. Well,
And I'm
Dr.
Brian Swanson
We are Denim and Pearls. We are business casual.
with pearls of wisdom.
From the porch.
Yes,
And we actually could have done it on the porch today because
we could have because it's gorgeous outside.
it's lovely.
It's just I have to carry all of my equipment there.
That's not going to happen. But anyways, our topic today is the leader of the band is died. And it's right.
Yep.
Is that it? Do you know that song?
His eyes are growing old. Something like that.
I'm just a living legacy for the leader of the band.
Which in itself is a very sad song, but a very inspirational song at the same time.
Very inspirational.
Dan Fogelberg, by the way.
And so what brought us to this subject, besides it's a beautiful song?
It's a beautiful. What did bring us? Oh, I know what it was.
What?
It was leadership that we see today. And when you and I got to talking about leadership, and leader of the band is about legacy. And what kind of legacy are you leaving? What kind of legacy has inspired you? And who are you? And what created you the way that you are? That brought you into this world and just keeps you moving. And I don't mean your parents necessarily.
No, and we are all a result of someone's legacy.
Yes.
And multiple people's legacy. And people always think, when I meet them, I do, why do you want to write a book? Or why do you want to be on stage and talk? And they do, I want to leave a legacy. Well, breathing, you're leaving a legacy. Do you want to leave a legacy for the world, or you want to leave a legacy for your family? You want to leave, what do you want? And what we were talking about was we are all a result of someone's legacy. And so I thought it'd be fun to just talk about from a personal point of view.
I have to contradict it a little bit. Are you sure about that? And the reason why I say that is there's some people out there who are just their own person, plain and simple.
Yes, but see, here's my thing. You never know who you're affecting. You never know who is watching you.
Well, I'm at the very beginning of this part of it, of who affected you. Maybe you've disposed of everybody in your life and you are just who you are, plain and simple.
And being who you are authentically, you're affecting someone. I mean, you go into a grocery store, someone saw you pick up the grapes, and someone saw you take a grape and pop it in your mouth. You just left an impact on them in some way, shape, or form where they said, that's stealing. I would never, ever do that.
I want to take you back, though.
Okay.
I want to take you back to the beginning of it, of who affected us.
That's where I want to get to.
Because you're talking about who's affecting them, the next step. I'm liking it from, well, who affected us? Who was an inspiration? Who was...
Oh, yeah, we haven't got to that part yet. I was trying to explain that even though you say you're not leaving a legacy of something.
Oh, I didn't say not leaving, but wasn't inspired by a legacy.
But you are an effect of someone's legacy. We all are.
But what if we're not?
We all are.
How can that be?
Hi, welcome to the United States of America. You were established on a country that was from immigrants who left all their other countries. You are a living legacy of someone else's. Thank you very much.
But I'm bump. End of show.
Nice to meet you. Because we are here and we're using technology, we are affected by someone else's legacy. In this case, well, we're not using an iPhone. I'd say Steve Jobs, who invented the Android.
I have no idea.
So basically, we are using other people's legacies. We're in effect being affected by that. But now let's go on a more personal level, okay? Because that'll be more fun. You don't want to get me on a soapbox.
Personal.
Who affected you? Who helped Brian become this jack of all trades, Brian?
Well, this goes back to, it just instantly becomes that comment of, or that topic of nature versus nurture.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because of my background, my adoption, the different things like that, how much I am like the person who I was not raised by.
And by the way, if you want to be in a book, write him. If you have an adoption story.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that in a while. being raised with the people that you're with, there's always going to be some kind of, I think there's going to be something that has affected you in some way, shape, or form.
Your own town has the town you were raised in affected you.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it takes a village, right?
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Which is actually, I mean, we say fun, and we say that in a kind of a funny manner. It takes a village because it was made famous by somebody, but it really is a true statement. Everybody around us, whether it's the kid, the teachers, the kids that you went to school with, your coaches, your whatever, everybody rubs off on everybody in some way, shape, or form. You may take something and you use it. So you may take something and throw it away because you didn't like the way that it went down.
But you learned from it.
Right, and that's also based on everybody else that's in your life and all of the decisions that have
So who affected you?
your brain, huh?
Who?
Well, I think by nature versus nature and nurture in this case. I think my parents did, but on the other side of it, I can remember back to certain teachers that I mean, I had one teacher in the 4th grade, Daniel C. Lose. Mr. Daniel C. Lose. I'll never forget it because it was on a plaque on his desk. He was an awesome individual, and I always looked up to him throughout the years. He's one I was telling you at one time I thought had left to go be a popcorn farmer. Found out that wasn't a true statement, but he's a principal. And I mean, as far as I know, currently he's still a principal or a superintendent or something like that. Mrs. Fettersfield, my 3rd grade teacher, I think it was, or 6th grade, something like 5th grade, 6th grade. Anyhow, taught me everything I know about English. All those little intricacies, the is, are, was, where's, has been, all that kind of stuff.
Did she miss the S's?
She forgot to put S on Miles. But other than that,
Brian is notorious for saying, I went 20 miles.
That's just an accent. That's all that is.
Okay.
I don't write it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just say it that way. But yeah, she inspired me all the way up through college, even beyond college, with the written word. Now granted, I'm pretty lazy about speaking it sometimes, but she was an influence within the English language. She got me my first class in college. Here's a test. Let's see where you guys stand. And I aced it, and everybody else was getting 60% or something like that. And I actually had a chance to tell her that. I actually spoke to her, and I honestly, I don't know if she's still around today, because it has been quite a few years. But I actually had a chance probably about 20 years ago to actually say thank you to her, and that itself was cool.
That's awesome.
So I always talk about Prince. Prince was one of my big influences. Not necessarily guiding me necessarily in the right direction as like a father figure or anything, but inspiring by the music and getting me through the tough times that I had as a kid. Mm-hmm. 1999. If you never listened to it, really listen to it.
And see, I would think my very first teacher I remember who had a huge impact on me was Miss Valenzuela. And I remember her hair went past her calves. I mean, her hair was super long.
Crystal Gale.
Yeah, like Crystal Gale, long, black, beautiful hair. And she was just so elegant. But I remember I think it was 2nd grade, and you're going to laugh about why she is a legacy influence on me. She taught me how to sing Filipino songs.
Oh, goodness. For somebody who can't speak Filipino.
Yeah, but we used to sing. And we would act them out. And I was always intrigued by that. And she was just so cool. I remember that part. I just remember it's music and Tagalog music. And then my next one, teachers, if we're staying with teachers, Mr. Cabret, he was a band teacher. And that wasn't until middle school, high school. And he was just happy. He loved his job. And I loved watching him because he was very strict with the music. He would, on the beat, come on, everybody. Where are you listening to the rest of the band? Listen to the people next to you. And he would get really firm about it. But when we hit it, he would do, and his eyes would twinkle. And he'd do, yes. Yeah. And he would be orchestrated like, oh my gosh, they've got it. You remember how middle school bands are where you do, you're like, what are they playing?
Where did you practice that?
When you first
that sound you just made. Where did you practice it? That was good.
I didn't practice it. When you're in band and you're like learning instruments and you've got French horns who do, yeah, that's a C. And you know, that kind of thing. But he
Sound
was
like a donkey.
but he was orchestrating a band of brand new players. And he got us to not only learn our parts, but then play together and to watch the magic happen in the room where we all played in our heads and not listening to anyone else, how disruptive and how disjointed the sound was. But when he taught us how to learn to listen to the person to our right and to our left, and then once we learned how to hear them, we could hear the rest of the band. We played as a troupe. Now, that's a huge thing for me in my world now, because what I learned from Mr. Cabret in middle school, high school, in a band, as I'm learning how to play clarinet, was that it's not about you in your head. You have to listen to the people around you to harmonize. And so I kind of do that in everything I do now. And then the next teacher, of course, is, well, no, he was a principal. Mr. Palomares. He knew every student in that school, every student in the school. And he would walk by and he'd say hi to everyone. He'd stop and ask everyone. And I remember thinking, when I am a grown up, I want to be that kind of person. I want to be like Mr. Cabret, who was just firm but lovely. Miss Valenzuela, a musical, just, she was like a walking angel to me. Mr. Palomares, just very friendly, and he knew people by name, and he actually looked at you in your eyes, which was rare when you're a kid and grown-ups are walking by. And then my next two huge teachers, my mother-in-law, Mary Moras. She was my math teacher for a little bit, my sophomore year of high school, because she is a lot of me.
Well, you wrote a book.
I wrote a whole book about her, and I did my
her.
TED Talk about her. She was huge in my life because she helped me realize that being a woman, I could be smart, I could be classy, and I could be musical. I could be what I wanted to be. And that was her whole thing, was stop apologizing. Stand up. What do you want? Get firm on that. She's the one who taught me the three things I taught in my TED Talk. You have to have a plan, but be flexible on how to get there. Eat dessert first, because life's too short and you're going to really wish you had that cake at the end. And the dessert really was just cake at the beginning, because you get full and then you can't eat the dessert, and that's what you really wanted. So eat it first. But she talked about that as in life. Enjoy the little things. Like, I love just sitting here and drinking coffee with this guy. I mean, honestly, that's how this podcast happened, because
I have such a lovely smile.
Yeah, right. The dessert in life is enjoying things like just hanging out with a friend and talking, or in our case, singing. He's learning Unforgettable by Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole, because it's something I love to do. And then the third thing my mother-in-law taught me was the differences between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. If you want something different, you must step out of your comfort zone a little bit every time so that you can get something different. So she is my lesson from TEDx. It's her. And then my final teacher, oh, that's a tough one, because you went down the teacher round.
I think we're influenced by a lot of people within the universe.
Oh, no. We just went on teachers. So,
yeah.
But teachers were huge for me, because I love education. I love learning. Mrs. Timius in second grade, she was the one who tested me and found that I wasn't supposed to be in special ed. I was in special ed.
That you're not normal?
Yeah, I was in special ed because I was having difficulty reading and stuff like that, and math. And what we found out was, one, it was the teacher bias, another teacher's bias. But two, I needed glasses and I couldn't see the board. But she tested me and found out that I was reading and writing and doing math in a college and above level. And in regular class, they didn't know it. They thought I needed to be in special ed.
Well, they thought I was a monstrosity as far as, always running my mouth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But honestly, it was boredom. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they finally figured, nobody, I don't think nobody ever diagnosed me with boredom, but that's pretty much what it was, because I learned things so quickly that it's like, okay, you've told me that 5 times, I'm done.
Yeah.
My geometry class, I remember sitting in geometry class with my head like this on the back chair, with the curtain of the window over my face. And I passed that class with a B. You know, I
He
did
still does that kind of stuff.
I did my homework on the bus. I mean,
he checks out when he gets bored, because that's why he's I call him a jack of all trades, because he's constantly doing something, because he'll finish it and do, okay, what's next? You still do it.
oh yeah,
Okay, what's next?
oh yeah. Or I sit there and I twiddle my thumbs and I find something else to do. Yeah.
So the detriment of our childhood usually is what you're gifted at as an adult. With me, it was she talks too much.
Yeah. Well, my dad Jim that raised me, he was not yeah, I can say an inspiration. I mean, if we look back at it, but he also taught me the ins and outs of, you know, if you're 15 minutes, or I mean, if you're on time, you're late kind of thing. You should always be at least 15 minutes early. He was always an hour early to work in the morning, or whatever shift he was on. He taught me responsibilities.
Oh, I just remembered another teacher that was huge, Dr. Johnson. 7th grade, social studies. She walked in the march with Martin Luther King Jr., and she showed us pictures of her in the lineup. She's like number 4 next to him.
Really?
In that huge march. I can't remember the name of the march. And then she played the I Have a Dream. Yeah. She played the I Have a Dream speech from Martin Luther King Jr. And I remember watching that video and crying, and said, when I grow up, I want to be able to move people like he can move people with his words. And I had forgotten that for many, many years.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting. You brought up a quote a little bit ago. The one that you always bring up, of course. The difference between rut and grave. One of my big quotes was, and it still is to this day, and it still plays a part in life, is keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Casey Kasem.
Exactly. What do you think I listened to a lot as a kid?
Music.
American Top 40. But it's always that is one of my quotes that I love. And the other one, which I think really it points to my way of thinking and my way of doing things, Henry David Thoreau. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. I think those two quotes are 100% me. Of course, I can make things complicated, but simplicity, it means get it done, do it right, move on. And keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, just means just keep looking forward.
So what did this say about me? Because the thing I remember the most from my childhood that I would watch over and over again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do 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 do. Do you remember?
You got me on that one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was on Electric Company, I believe, and it was a pinball machine. And it would start with someone pulling the back, and it was a cartoon.
No.
Pulling the pin, and it would hit the ball. This whoop, and it would bounce around the pinball. And as it would hit the numbers, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do, 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 do. I'm very visual. Can you tell?
And what does this have to do with legacy? Go ahead, turn it. Let's go. Let's see how this goes.
The pinball song, how it goes to legacy, is someone wrote that song thinking they just made a child song just to help them count to 10. And what it helped me realize is that serious stuff doesn't have to be serious. We can have fun.
This is true.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? I mean, it also lets you forget a lot of the bad things.
And yeah, there were a lot of bad things going on. So I was always in music. So just like you, but I was always listening to things like, the hills are alive.
Oh no!
With the sound of music.
Musicals were not my thing.
I love musicals.
And I don't know
Elvis Presley.
Well, no, I can't say that. I did like musicals. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of times that I saw those and was like, "This is so cool." What's the one? Music Man with a slide trombone.
Yeah, we've got trouble right here in River City.
Oh, that's my favorite. Yeah, right here.
Yes, I love the Music Man.
It starts with P and that rhymes with poo. When it was terrible to bring a pool table into the community.
Or like, well, hello, Dolly. Well, hello, Dolly.
I didn't get into Hello, Dolly.
I liked Hello, Dolly because we did it as a performance in high school.
So all of this stuff is influence.
Everything is influence.
But is it legacy?
It's not necessarily legacy, but it's the music
Like a
behind
beat.
it, the things that they did are their legacy that we fed on. It was their legacy that we fed
Right.
on. So like all of our teachers that are out there, all you teachers out there, kudos to you. Thank you for doing what you do, because you have no idea how you are affecting the lives of our future. And
Well, the funny part is even if you're a terrible teacher, you're still
affecting.
inspiring somebody.
Yes. So don't be a terrible teacher, but you are still inspiring someone. And because I remember oh my gosh, I had a teacher while I was in his class. I hated his class. Oh my gosh, it was the class I dreaded going into. So Mr. Crow, if you're still out there, actually, I think he passed already. He was my physics teacher
That would be
high school.
ironic if he popped up on the thing.
I know, but I hated his class. But when I got to college, so I hated his class because he would just let us do what we do. He would say what it was going to do, and then he would say, go do it. And it was freak me out because this is physics. You need to tell us what we're doing. I don't know. I remember panicking about it. And I remember thinking, this man makes everything so hard. And then when I got to college and I was in engineering, you got the syllabus. No one told you when homework was due. It was just there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to do it. And so I ran into him, I think it was like our 10th year high school reunion. I ran into him at like a Village Inn or whatever. And I looked over, I said, Mr. Crow? He said, yes. Now, what's funny about Mr. Crow is, who's that guy that you like with the dark glasses, Roy Orbison?
Orbison?
He always reminded me of Roy. And because he always had jet black hair, he always wore kind of like a cowboy outfit. And he was just kind of rugged looking cowboy dude. And he has, yes. And I said,
No.
I want to thank you because you're the one teacher that truly taught me what college was going to be like. And as an engineering student, being able to pass your class helped me survive all of my engineering courses. So in the moment, I didn't like him. But
Well, let me
I
ask you
appreciated him
this.
for
What
he
was
did.
his response?
He said something like that was the intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I asked that is a lot of times it's really hard. I mean, it's hard enough to give somebody a compliment sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard enough to say, you really inspired my life, or you really molded some of my ideas and stuff like that. But I've heard it before. And for me, it's a hard reaction of, you're welcome.
No, thank you.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Well, my answer usually is,
what was his response?
His response was, that was intended. That was the intent. And but we were also in like an AP physics class, so we were already in the advanced class. So
right.
He basically was teaching us at a college level.
Right.
So he taught us at a college level. It was like, holy smokes. And he had the best smile. And I remember because during class, you never saw him smile. He always looked so angry, but he smiled and I'm like, oh my God, he's human. But it's just, he was a tough teacher, but he was a cool teacher.
All right, we're down to the last few minutes. Let's go to the other end of it. Who are we? Who do we think we're inspiring? I mean, I know because you just got told last night.
Yeah.
So who are we inspiring?
Anyone that's watching and listening right now.
Or not, who are we leaving a legacy to?
Or definitely, hopefully, our children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You gonna give some of what you were told last night? I mean, that was amazing.
Nope.
Aww.
Well,
just a snippet.
Just a snippet is, if you can't tell, I'm a pretty strict mom. I'm not a coddling mom, and my children, one of them told me, "Thank you for being so strict. Thank you for making me learn how to clean a house and wash dishes. Thank you for instilling in me, even though I'm afraid, go do it anyways. The worst that's going to happen, you're going to fall. The best thing that's going to happen is I'll pick you up and then put you back on track." And I was
you're a little off the rails. Here we go.
Yeah, you fell, but okay, here's a little push. But I'm not one to completely rescue you. So let's say someone says, I just spent all my paycheck. I have no money. I'm going to die. Oh, really? So, do you have a potato? We'll cut it up. You're going to eat it for a couple of days, or go find another job. I don't say, well, here's a couple $100. Go take care of that. I don't do that. I help them find another way. And my compliment was, thank you for making me see that I must find my way. And that is a huge legacy piece for a parent to hear, because you think, man, am I being too rough on them? I mean, maybe I should coddle them a little bit more. And you do, what? Nope, job done. I did it.
Right. Well, that was one thing. I mean, I with my kids, I know I've torqued them off many, many times, as we all as parents do. But I was always a realist. I was always somebody that gave them the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, I mean, I specifically think of my daughter, and she's like, well, that's not right. That hurt my feelings. I'm sorry, but that's the way life is.
That's the facts, Jack.
And I think, I've never been told by my daughter how inspiring I am. I maybe never will, but what?
He's never been told how inspiring he is to his daughter. You know what this is? What is it?
It's my daughter ring.
Uh-huh. And who got it for you?
My daughter.
And what did she put in it?
Oh.
You don't have to say it.
Well, it's not a big deal. It's
okay.
UTM plus PF equals storks.
That's love.
In other words, I always nicknamed her nickname when she was little was uglier than me. And when I actually gave her that nickname one time, I said something to her just inadvertently, and that's how it started. And within a millisecond, she fired back, well, nothing, pig fat. And I'm like,
that's the PF.
Where did you come? Yeah, the PF is pig fat. Where did you come up with that? And then she got the ring made up, and I've been wearing it ever since she bought it for me for Christmas.
What's amazing about their relationship is it's hilarious, because they are the same, almost the same person, and she's really good at she's so sharp that she's really good at firing back. So they have this great ping pong battle that goes on around them, but they're doing it while they're smiling, and it's really cute. So she's never said anything, but she's giving him a memento that he never forgets. So his wife is on one hand, his daughter's on the other hand. Thank you very much.
So, but what I was saying is the fact that I gave it to her straight.
Mm-hmm.
Mom was always the one that, like you said, was the opposite one who did some coddling and things of that nature.
They do need coddling, though. They need coddling too.
Right. But I was the one that just, this is a fact of life, and this is the way that it works. If you don't like it, well, make a change. Do something, you know? Remember
one of my bad parenting moments, I think it's a bad parenting moment. My husband's an aquatic biologist by degree, and we have this huge fish tank, and our kids were little, and we had all these fish flying, going around. Well, one of them was giving birth.
Cool.
And the live babies were coming out of the fish. And as they were coming out, the giant angel we had in the fish tank was eating each fish as they were coming out of the other fish. And my one daughter was like, oh, it's eating all the babies. And my son's looking at doing, wow, I didn't know they came out live like that. And I was standing in the back behind them doing the circle of life.
Kidding.
And then my husband, who's the technical one, was explaining, that's the cycle of life. And, this is what happens. And there'll be a few that will actually survive, that will make it away while one's being eaten, make it away. It's kind of what they do is a couple of them get sacrificed so the other ones can get away.
All I can think of is the statement we made here a few episodes ago.
What?
It's all in the numbers. You can't be the numbers, and numbers can't be you. I mean, the animal kingdom has multi.
Yeah.
For the purpose of survival.
Yeah, you got to think that little fish was put out like 100, 200 babies.
And 3 survived.
And maybe 2 survived.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To move on with the circle of life.
Because if they all lived in there, the whole tank would have filled up. They would die. They would have none. All these things. It's just what it is.
No, I mean, look at goldfish, well, not necessarily goldfish, but starfish. Anything like that. I mean, even if we look at pigs and whatever who have litters, dogs, cats, they have litters.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to call them.
His dog still hates me for her litter.
That's a whole other.
Yeah. But anyways.
So anyhow, we're at the end.
Oh, can we make it a little longer?
Why?
Because we have so much more to talk about.
You do?
There are so many people. Well, basically, there are so many people that have left a legacy that we all thrive upon, have benefited from, whatever it is. We're all living in someone else's legacy. And what I'd like to leave with all of you, and well, you're sitting next to me, is think about
Doesn't mean I'm listening, but
not what legacy I'm going to leave. I mean, people do that when they want to write books so they can leave their mark in the world in some way, shape, or form,
or their headstone.
or their headstone. But the thing is if you don't want to go that far with your legacy, the way you live your life is a legacy. One day you're going to pass away. Surprise. You're going to pass away.
Why'd you let us know that?
I know, I'm sorry. And people are going to be at your funeral, and people are going to talk about you and what they loved about you and how you affected them in some way, shape, or form. That's your legacy. So don't think because you didn't write a book or you weren't in a movie or didn't dance in some big ballet, whatever you thought you wanted to do and you haven't done it yet. You see, I said yet. Your legacy is how you interact with people also. So make it good interactions. Make them happy interactions. Go have coffee and tea with your friend. Even when he isn't your friend, he becomes your friend.
Which
You-
is
You want
which
my
is a
friend.
new dynamic. Oh my gosh, you just totally took it in a whole nother direction, but it's exactly the same.
What?
What movie what was probably one of the movies of the 80s that totally inspired you that talks about what you just said? I'm letting everybody go tick, 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 tick. Breakfast Club.
Oh my
They
God.
all got thrown into the same room to become friends from each of their own
Dynamics.
dynamics. Yes.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That was a very influential, that and 16 Candles, but there was a whole bunch of others. But
There was
Breakfast
a whole
Club.
bunch of, yeah. Breakfast Club. Go watch that. And you'll realize how we all affect each other in some way.
Well, it's not only affecting each other, but it's also learning to live with each other and liking each other for
Through
the
our
quirks that-
differences.
yes, that we don't even know about.
So if you don't know about the Breakfast Club, they're all in morning detention at school, and they're all there for different reasons. There's like,
Isn't it like Saturday morning or
yeah,
something?
it's a Saturday
Yeah.
morning. They're all ticked off, but there's like the stoner, the cheerleader,
The jock.
the jock. I mean, they're
The
from all
nerd.
the different aspects of school, and they're all put together. And at the end, they end up becoming, spoiler alert, really good friends. And then they all go off in their own world, understanding where each one comes
Mhm.
from. And it's a beautiful movie. So yeah, Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
Go
it's
watch
a
it.
great teen movie.
It's a great teen movie, but it's
But now
also,
if you look back at it and watch it, you'll analyze it a little bit differently.
and it's how we should learn how to live amongst all of our differences now.
Mhm.
I don't ever want to be Brian. Brian does not want to be me, but I
Oh, God,
respect
no.
Brian for the way he is and who he is, and I respect his intellect and what he can do and what he is as a person. Do I say I want him to be like me? No. I don't want him to be like me, because if he was like me, he would make me crazy.
I already do, but
He already does in a different way. But that's the whole thing, is understanding, learning, and knowing to love and care for someone without changing them. That's magic. So we have come to the leader of the band has died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his eyes have grown old.
Yep.
I'm just a
Living
living
legacy.
legacy for the leader of the band.
As you notice, I don't sing.
Well, that's too low for me
Much.
to sing. So, leader of the band, you're somebody's leader. You just don't realize it yet.
Mhm. Somebody was your leader, and you're somebody's leader.
Yeah. So go be the best leader you can be every day, unapologetically.
Oh, that was sweet how you rolled that in there.
Yes. My name is Dr. Chimmerox, and you are?
Brian Swanson.
We are Denim and Pearls. We are business casual.
With pearls of wisdom.
From the porch. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Oh,
don't forget the peace.
peace.
Here, look. Where? Oh, look at that. You're right between my fingers.